Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC and welcome to this edition of Channel Chat. And joining me today is our good friend Zach from Zman's EDC. How you doing, man?
Not too bad.
Good, man. It's very good to see you. By the way, I like the hat.
Oh, I got to represent, you know.
Right on. Well, it's good to have you. If those of you that don't know, Zman's EDC is a pretty new channel. Where are we at? I think I looked earlier today and you were sitting at right about 77 subscribers.
Yep, that's what it was last I looked.
Right on. Very good.
Yep.
Very good. Well, we're going to see what we can do to get you to that 100 mark and that first little sort of milestone, if you will, and you'll be off and running. Absolutely. And we'll have a lot of fun. Now, I usually start off with, just if you want to, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. You can tell us as little or as much as you want. It's completely up to you, but I'll just kind of let you introduce yourself to everyone and we'll go from there. How's that?
All righty. Well, Zman's EDC, as you guys know me, or Zach. I am a maintenance technician for a nonprofit that I won't name in the video here, but jack of all trades, master of none. I do a little bit of everything there. And so I'm very hands-on, so I definitely use my knives. They are a big tool for me. They've always been a tool for me, and that's one reason why I love them. I've carried for years, but I only went down the EDC rabbit hole like a year and a half ago, and it just kind of went from there. As most of you know, it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah, it definitely is that.
And now I've got a pretty decent collection, so
oh, nice.
Why not start a channel, right?
Sure, why not? So, okay, so I'll put you on the spot here a little bit. Do you know or remember or have the first knife you ever got?
I do not have it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty certain it was my Boy Scout knife when I was in Boy Scouts.
Sure, okay.
So childhood, I did Boy Scouts, obviously, like I just mentioned. And I went through all the way to Life Scout, but I got too old before I got to Eagle, unfortunately.
Okay.
But aside from that, all my life my family's big into camping and hiking and doing all that kind of outdoor stuff. Sure. So being around pocket knives and axes and hatchets and all those tools was, it was second nature, it was a part of what we did.
Right on.
So I've always carried like a Swiss Army knife of some sort in our Boy Scout knife in Boy Scouts. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those anymore, but I do have a couple sitting here that I did carry for a long time before I went down the rabbit hole a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So,
yeah, go ahead, show them to us.
So this guy it's a little, well, not little, but Gerber assisted. I don't know the model number off the top of my head or the name.
Okay.
But it's just an assisted one. I was issued this by the Army when I was in the reserves.
Oh, right.
And I carried it for a long time, but until it got super dull. And at the time, I wasn't really good at sharpening yet, so I kind of set it aside in the drawer. Then I bought the next one that I have, which is another Gerber assisted, because they worked for me.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But this one's got the lock right here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, but there's a little switch there.
Okay.
So you can unlock it and close it shut. And then I followed that up when I replaced that one. I got this guy, another Gerber, tipped down. So sad. Don't know what I was thinking. But for somebody that wasn't into the hobby like I am now,
right?
They work great for day-to-day use. They did what I needed them to do.
Well, and that's the main thing.
That's where I always come back to, like, all these expensive knives are fantastic, but for somebody that just needs to do the job, you don't need an expensive knife. You really don't. So do we enjoy them and love them? Absolutely.
Oh, sure, without a doubt. And your taste, and as you grow in the hobby, you just naturally kind of, if you have the ability to, you can kind of naturally evolve, and you find a knife that maybe is a little bit more expensive, but it really just kind of grabs your attention. There you go. Like yes. You're gonna, you save up for a little while and you get it.
Better picture of it.
That's the Nimble, correct?
Yeah, that's the nimble.
Yeah, that's a nice looking knife.
Well, other than the thick boy that I have pre-ordered, this is the most expensive one currently in my possession.
Sure.
So it's kind of my pride and joy right now.
Of course. Of course. So, well, very cool. Very cool. So, and you know, I like that you said that. It's yes. I mean, I started with budget knives. I think a lot of people do.
Oh, most of my collection is budget.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, me too. You know, some of the more expensive knives I show on the channel are either loaners or stuff that we get, you know, in the pass around group. You know, that's where the more, I mean, yes, have I bought a cut? Sure, I do. I ended up buying, I saved up and I bought a Chris Reeve to see. I had to see what all the hype was about. Right? Very good knife. Absolutely. It's a good knife. But after I did that in a while, I'm just kind of like, you know, it's built well. It's a great knife. At the end of the day, what does it do? It cuts.
It cuts.
It cuts. And, you know, I have a lot of $50 and $100 knives and even maybe some $25 knives that they cut too. You know, obviously there's a much different, you know, there's a much difference in build quality, you know, but I tell you what, anymore, a lot of the budget knives on the market, they might not be that quality, but there's some really darn good quality knives out there for well under the $100 mark.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, okay, next question. And then we'll just we'll just roll with it. Is what made you decide to start your channel?
Honestly, there's a lot of inspiration from you and our other fellow YouTubers that are on a lot of the lives and chats and the comments and everything. And it's just I just thought of it as a good way to an outlet to talk about what I love with other people that care about the same stuff, you know?
Exactly.
Unfortunately for me, a lot of my friends and coworkers kind of look at me like I'm crazy when I start babbling about knives. So, might as well share it with the other people that actually do care. So
exactly. I know where you're coming from, man. I know it. I mean, we do, the other guys I work with, yes, they use knives and stuff as well, but yeah, they're definitely not as deep. They have not gone that deep down the rabbit hole as I have. But
my boss is so close. Like I'm trying to push him over that edge, and he just won't. Like, come on, man. Like he's into him, but he doesn't want to spend the money on him. I think is where he's kind of.
Well, and then, like we talked about that, you know, it's like that for a while. But once you get the bug, then it kind of it can evolve, and it can evolve rather quickly and get at hand.
Yeah, I definitely went down the slope a little faster than some.
But it's been a fun ride, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, and we talked a little bit about it. I mean, that nimble is a really, really nice knife. I mean, I had the opportunity to check it out when we were down there in Oregon City. That had checked it out. It was a really, really nice looking knife, and just really smooth. My goodness, it was smooth.
I mean, QSP, they OEM'd it, as a lot of people know by now, but they just knocked it out of the park. I mean, they absolutely blown away. It was a lot of mixed feelings because I pre-ordered that one too when he did the pre-order, and that was back in like, God, I want to say like March or something. It was a long time ago. Okay. And then I think it was like 4 or 5 months before it actually shipped to us.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was a long wait. So there's a point in the waiting where I was like, man, this knife better be as good as I'm hoping is, or this is going to be like really disappointing wait, you know? No, it totally blew me out of the water, man. It's awesome. I love it.
Well, that's good. That's good. And, you know, I mean, I talk about a lot of knives, you know, I mean, obviously Finch being one that's OEM'd by QSP, and QSP does a lot of OEM work. Now, I know not only them, but some of the other, you know, guys that do OEM work with for whatever reason, whether it be the COVID monster or whatever, you know, they're experiencing delays in production. That's the unfortunate byproduct, I guess we can say. you know,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. I mean, it's not just QSP. There's several of them that are feeling the pinch. And no, I get what you mean. You put that money out there and then you're just like, okay, come on, come
Yep.
on.
But you know, after pre-ordering that one, it was much easier to pre-order the second one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
oh yeah.
yeah, but I believe QSP is highly underrated right now by a lot of people. I really do. They're doing such excellent work. And then this upgraded version of the Penguin, like, good Lord, this thing is sweet, man. The action on it is just ridiculous. Like, I mean,
QSP has kind of gone with the Penguin, like Civivi did with the Elementum. It caught fire. Right. It caught fire, and now they're just kind of doing it in just, which is cool. You know, obviously, if you have a product that a lot of people like, you're gonna start expanding on it and doing it different ways.
Why not?
Exactly. Why not? I mean, it makes sense to do that. You know, and it was really cool when I found out that they were gonna make the full TI version. I was like, cool, they're gonna do a full titanium frame lock version of it. Because you know, there's people out there that really prefer titanium over like, you know, the G10 or whatever the case may be, micarta, whatever. And
see, I actually prefer micarta.
I do too.
As my favorite handle material. I love the look of wood, but it just doesn't hold up as far as like using it.
Yeah.
But so the Nimble was my first titanium handled knife. So that kind of made it help it grow on me because I like the knife so much.
Sure.
But the titanium on this Penguin, and I mentioned it in my video earlier this week, this was supposed to be the blue. When this camera's not doing it justice right now with the lighting, but it's not really that blue. It's more of like a grayish.
I did notice
blue.
that. I did notice that in your video, yeah.
Which, I mean, it's not. I still love the aesthetics of it, but that was a little disappointing as far as that. But it's still a fantastic knife.
Sure. And I know
micarta is really my go-to handle material.
Me too. I really do enjoy micarta, and you know, there's some out there that's done better than others, for sure.
Yeah.
I have been really, I mean, well, QSP. Well, I mean, yeah, QSP did well with, I thought the micarta on their denim micarta Penguin was really good. I like that. And there's been several other micarta. There you go. There you go. I thought that was done well. And a lot of other QSP micarta has been done well. Also, I think Artisan, CGRB. I think I like the way they do their micarta.
Their feldspar, I have that in micarta, and I love the micarta on that knife. It is awesome.
The one that really got me was the Centros. I love the micarta on that one, and the Rhea. You know,
I have the Rhea, but not micarta.
That one was the one I just really, really liked the texture, the feel. It's got a little bit more of a rough texture, but then again, it's really grippy, you know? So, and I just kind of like the Rhea anyway. It's a fun little knife. I don't know. I enjoy it. How much do you like yours?
I do like the Rhea. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it doesn't get carried that much compared to other knives that I have.
Well,
but I do love it. But speaking of little knives,
okay. Oh yes, you got the baby banter. Yes, nice.
This thing is awesome, JB. I mean the ergos on this thing. I mean, I've got all 4 fingers on that, and it's comfortable. Like, that's as small as that thing is.
And that was one of the original banter was one of those knives that when I first saw it, I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
It just didn't look. You know, it just didn't look like, you know, it just didn't grab me, I guess. That's the best way to put it. But man, once I got it in hand, I was like, okay. All righty. So, and the smaller one obviously has the forward finger choil to kind of aid in getting that better grip on it. But yeah,
Yep.
the original banter was very, very surprising. So I'm glad to hear that people are liking the baby banter too, which I'm not too surprised that they do,
Well, and
honestly.
so the original banter I actually avoided for a while,
Me too.
and then I saw multiple people. I think you were one of them that was surprised by it when they did check it out.
I definitely
So
was.
after I saw multiple, YouTubers, oh, this is surprisingly comfortable. I was like, all right, now I got to try it,
Mhm.
and I was surprised. It's a good little knife.
I was definitely in that group of being surprised on just how really ergonomic it really was.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I still don't have one in my collection,
Right.
but it's not because I don't like it, because I do. It just, I can't buy them all, unfortunately. I wished I
Yeah.
could.
I wish I could too.
But
I have more than 50. I'd have like 250.
right.
Oh man.
So now you've been kind of showing us, more of the more modern. Do you get into the traditional, the slip joint at all, or are you still pretty much in that modern phase?
I'm very much more modern. I have,
Okay.
I think, like maybe one or two slip joints. Give me 1 second. I mean, I've got some sacks and stuff as far as that kind of slip joint,
Sure,
but
sure.
I think this is really the only other slip joint I have is this little copper boker here.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah. I it's not that I don't like them. I definitely respect because it's a different type of craftsmanship in a knife,
Sure.
and I totally respect it, and I think it's beautiful. Some of the slip joints like that you get and show. I just for me and what I do for a living, because like I said, it's always been a tool to me. My knives are.
Sure.
I prefer a locking knife that I can manipulate one-handed,
Without a
because a
doubt.
lot of times I'm holding something in my other hand when I'm at work, and I got to be able to. So it's just kind of where I gravitate towards, if that makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I was just wondering if it was really anything, like, and you said Swiss Army knives. I think whether people are into, quote unquote, into slip joints,
Right.
I think pretty much everybody that collects knives probably has a Swiss Army knife or two. It's just one of those things, I think. Maybe not everybody, but it's just one of those things because they're so handy. It's basically a multi-tool. I mean, that's what it is. So, I think that just kind of, it doesn't necessarily get categorized as a slip joint all the time.
And I almost forgot I got this one too. The Real Steel Luna.
Oh, the Luna, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually dyed the scales on this one.
Okay. You dyed them blue?
Yep. Yeah, they were the white scales when I got it.
Oh, white. Okay. And it took pretty good?
Yeah, it took pretty good. There's a couple spots that I think maybe I just didn't get it clean enough before I dyed it.
Sure. Sure.
But that was only the second one I'd ever done, so I'm still learning.
Hey, I haven't dyed a whole lot. I think I've only dyed maybe 2 or 3 set of scales. I haven't dyed a whole lot myself.
But I'm gonna try. Well, I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna dye this guy next, the Stinger.
Okay. It's the
Fair Ford Stinger.
Yeah, but what color are you thinking of going with?
Oh, I'm thinking like either a dark blue or maybe like a deeper green.
Okay. Right on. Because it's kind of that OD right now, right? That kind of.
This is the tan scales, but
it's
kind
tan.
of a darker tan. Yeah.
That's kind of what. Okay, so it's a darker tan. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. So, dude, I tell you what, Ferrum Forge, I like a lot of their knives. I have the mini Archbishop. I like that.
This is
knife.
the first one that I've actually had in hand, and I eyeballed this thing for a while.
Yeah.
I kept, it was on my wish list, and I kept coming back to it and looking at it. And finally, it was on sale on National Knife Day, and I was like, "Yeah, let's grab it." So, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I got the mini Archbishop, and I shouldn't have said "and" because now it's escaping me. But another one,
the Prolix.
There you go. Thank you. Jiminy Christmas. CRS, man. CRS. Yeah. Marcos always gets me with CRS because it's true. But yes, the Prolix. But and both of them, they're different blade shape and stuff, but they're fairly similar sized and everything. And
the the mini Archbishop looked too small for me.
Okay.
The Prolix, I like the look of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So that if I do get another one, it'll probably be that one. But I do like the Stinger. It's nice.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a nice little knife. So, well, before we get any too farther, I gotta ask you, and we kind of talked about it a little bit beforehand, but there's a guitar on the wall behind you, and you told me you play a little, you don't play a lot, but there's a little bit of a story behind it.
Yeah. So my grandfather, and he's still with us, God bless him. Not doing too hot lately, but he's still with us. But anyways, he has, for as long as I can remember, ever since I was a toddler at least, and probably before that, because he's up there, he's been playing music, and he plays old school country and kind of folk and all that kind of stuff. And they up till recently, they played at like the local Portrait Eagles and those places and stuff like that, the a lot of the veteran halls and stuff. Anyhow, so he plays guitar and they play the folk and country music. And he actually, this is the second one. I unfortunately lost the first one. The first guitar I got was actually an electric one that he built from parts from other guitars.
Okay.
I kind of Frankensteined it together. And I still upset that I lost that one. That's a whole nother story though. And then years later, he pieced together this one from other parts of acoustic guitars and kind of put it together for me, and I've had it ever since.
That's cool.
And
that's awesome.
I refuse to get rid of it. And then I don't know, you'll probably can't see it from here, but the strap that's hanging on it, that my mom made, and it's handmade with like the little beads, like almost how the Indians used to do it.
Okay.
So she hand sewed all those beads together and made a really cool kind of Celtic pattern strap for it, and it's got leather on the back of the beads and everything. So there's definitely some sentiment in that guitar.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Very cool. Your grandpa built it. Your mom built this or made the strap for it. That's cool. That's cool. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but that's the kind of stuff that I really like that's just really cool to see and to hear about. That's cool. I mean, we talk about knives and we're all here about knives, but there's maybe a little bit more to life than knives, a little bit, not a lot, but a little.
Well, and I've got a handful of things from my mom and her boyfriend, for lack of a better term, but they've been together for a while, and he is into what do you call it, like the mountain men reenactment stuff, so like black powder and tomahawks and all that. And they do the garb and the tents, and they camp, period correct and everything. But they do a lot of craftsmanship stuff. Like they build rifles from scratch, they make tomahawks and bows and arrows from scratch. They've got guys that forge knives, and I actually have one hanging up here that I never carry, but it's pretty cool. Maybe if I can get it. There we go. But this guy, I don't know the name of the gentleman that forged it, but it was given to me. So that's just a really cool little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
It hangs up on the wall here, and I take care of it. And I mean, and it's made to be used, and I know it is because that's how they craft all their stuff. But it's just kind of a neat piece, you know what I mean? So,
it's a nice showpiece, of course.
And then it came with this little neck sheath, so it just kind of slips right in there, and you wear it around the neck on the necklace.
Right.
So it's a neat little.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, do they do that often? Like
so during the summers they do with the rendezvous or the camping trips like every other weekend, it seems like.
Oh wow.
And they spend a lot of time in it, and they have a lot of fun with it, and they have the shooting competitions with the black powder, and they have tomahawk throwing competitions and all kinds of stuff, and they do Dutch oven cooking competitions and
nice.
And we've gone and checked it out a few times with the boys and hung out and stuff. And so.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, to build a black powder rifle, that would be pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and next time we meet up, I could show you some pictures of some of the stuff he's done. But you would know where this is because we live close to each other. But Paulsville Gun Range out there on Clear
Sure.
Creek,
Sure.
they do usually before COVID, they do a kids day every year out there.
Okay.
So families can bring the kids and they get to do all the stuff, the black powder, and the kids get to shoot the guns with it with assistance and safety,
Sure.
of course.
Of course. Of course.
And they get to try out the bows and the tomahawks, and they got all kinds of little craft stuff set up and games, and so that's kind of how we got introduced to it by my mom, and then we kind of started dipping our toes in further and further every time we would hang out with them. So
Sure. That's cool. Yeah, that's just right up the road for me. Been out there a few times and shot myself, but well, you know what I mean.
Right.
I've been out there several times. We'll just leave it at that. But yes, definitely. No, that's pretty cool. And it sounds like it would be a lot of fun to do, to check out. And I mean, guys that do that, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, we see guys that, I mean, obviously we watch Forged in, shows like Forged in Fire, and there's guys that do still hand forge knives, use coal forges and all that stuff. But I think it would really be really cool to actually see and just watch someone do that
in person. Yeah.
Yes, in person. I think that would be really cool.
That's one of the things that I love about like meeting some of the small makers like Joe from Lancelot Leather.
Sure.
Is I love quality craftsmanship, and I love seeing and learning and getting a better understanding of the process of the skills that it takes to make these things by hand.
Exactly.
Because there's skills that a lot of people don't have anymore, and they've kind of started to disappear from society.
Without a doubt.
It's sad. I think we
need
to keep these skills around, if anything.
Absolutely.
So it's always super cool, and I have a really big respect for that kind of stuff,
Absolutely.
And that's what I was saying earlier, like with the slip joints, I definitely respect the craftsmanship that's there. I don't carry them myself, but I definitely respect what they're doing with them,
Absolutely. No, I think that would be pretty cool to see. And no, and you're, I agree with you 100%. Is I've never been overly handy. that's putting it politely, but and it really is impressive to me to watch people and see people, just like create a knife out of just a chunk of steel. That's absolutely fascinating to me to see somebody, because they can see it in their head, they can picture it. Of course, they draw it out, they have a rough draft of what they want to do, and then and I keep saying Forged in Fire because that's my only experience with it. That's my only experience seeing it done and watching videos on YouTube and but to see them forge what they do in that short period of time, I mean, to me, that's just, I'm like, I'm in awe, really. I am, because it's just like, dang, I could not, and like you said, even leather and stuff, and you hear, and like people that put all that time and effort into making something, and then because I did do a few craft fairs with stuff a while back. I tried my hand at it. It wasn't really my thing, but it just amazes me, and you'll see people walk by these tables, and what's one of the things you hear all the time is, oh, they're asking too much for it. Well, when you see the process that goes into what these people do and how they make this stuff, you have a little, at least I can say, I have a little bit more respect for. And and it might not be exactly one of a kind, but it's pretty darn close. It's close enough.
I will gladly pay more for something I know is handmade.
Yes.
Over something I can buy in a store that I know is machined somewhere anytime.
Sure.
Anytime.
Sure.
Without a question, just because I have that respect for what was put into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know it was made by somebody that put their heart and soul and love into that item.
Sure.
And they did it in a way that it's going to last, usually. You know what I mean?
Right. And
And there's just
something like,
something about that you can't beat, you know?
no. And you kind of can see, especially seeing, if you can see the process that goes into it, you can see
Yeah.
that the passion that they put into it. That's the
Mhm.
thing that gets me, is there's just the passion and the effort and everything that they actually put into what they're creating. That
Oh
for
yeah.
me is that's fantastic. Now, now, okay, we're recording this right before Labor Day, but everybody will see it next Saturday. But was there a show at the fairgrounds this weekend? I thought I saw a sign. Maybe it's for next weekend.
Oh, there was the gun show signs. I think it was probably at the down at the
The
on the water
pavilion?
again at the convention center.
Oh, at the convention center.
That's where they did it the last few times, anyways.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I went. Oh God, I want to say like June or July. I went to it.
Okay.
There's a ton of guns there, of course. There was a good selection of knives, but
Mhm.
they were so overpriced. It wasn't. I kind of lost interest real quick, you know. And the
That
person behind the counter didn't really know what they were talking about as much as
sure,
they were trying to play it off.
sure, sure.
So
And there was some, I think there was some discussion about that on Peter and Christine's live earlier today
yeah,
about, and we really don't have the cool knife shops around here.
we don't.
We just have, I mean, what we have. Well, I mean, obviously, if we go over to like Tacoma and stuff, you've got Cabela's and that type of thing,
Bass
Bass
Pro and
Pro,
yeah,
but things tend to be a little bit more expensive in those places. We have
and
a Sportsman's
Sportsman's
Warehouse.
Sportsman's Warehouse has some Spydercos and Benchmades and some CRKTs and stuff. I've never seen Civivi in there, which would be cool if they did.
Yeah.
I know they got Gerbers hanging up in the blister packs and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
some in the case.
Yeah.
But so they got a lot of your normal stuff. But
Sure.
if you're looking for a selection, I buy online mostly.
Oh yeah, I do too. I do too. And
I've gone in there to like handle stuff like Peter and Christine were saying.
Oh, definitely.
And then
Without
set
a
it down
doubt.
and like, okay, and then I'll walk back out and go order the version I want online. Like
Well,
I've done that, but
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, seriously, I don't know if you've experienced, I know I've experienced it where I was, or even a knife coming in the pass around, I'm like, oh man, I am super, super stoked. Well, there was one specifically, but I won't get into that because I've talked about it enough already, and people can probably already guess by now the one I'm talking about, but I was so excited to see it. And then it got here and I was like, I'm just like, no. And then if I'd have went out and bought one, I mean, I'm sure I probably could have turned right around and sold it because they're very popular and people love them. And I'm sure I could have without much question. But it's just that, going, if you have at least like if you have a Cabela's or like a Sportsman's Warehouse, and you're looking at, like you said, they're more of your Benchmade, Spyderco, that type of the big boys, we'll call them.
Yeah.
Then you can definitely go in there and try them out and see how they fit you and see if you like them, without a doubt. And in my opinion, I know I'm going to do that, before I buy something like that, if I have the opportunity. But
well, that's the thing with buying online, is you're always kind of taking a chance, especially if it's a designer or a maker that you've never bought from before. It's kind of like, ooh, that looks cool, but is it really gonna be great when I get it?
Yeah.
I think the only one that I've ordered online that I was kind of super disappointed with was for me, anyways, because I know a lot of people like it.
Okay.
So don't get mad at me, people.
No.
I believe I donated that one to the raffle actually a while back. Was a CRKT Pete or Pite, however you say it.
Sure.
I mean, it was a nice little knife. Like, don't get me wrong, it was well made and everything. It was too small, and operating it with it being too small for my hands, I didn't like it. It didn't work for me,
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest one that I was like disappointed with, as far as getting it. And then there was this guy, which I'm not so disappointed with now because it finally broke in. But this Kaiser Begletter, That first video, man, it threw me for a loop. It did not want to lock up.
Now, was it locking up at all, or was it just really, really light?
I had to flick it open quite hard to get it to lock up even a little bit at first.
Okay. Okay.
It was not.
So it just didn't want to lock.
Yeah. I took it apart, kind of cleaned it, put it back together, and then I've been playing with it quite a bit and just working it. And now that it's breaking in, now it's getting a pretty solid lockup. I don't know if you guys can see it, but now it's getting a pretty decent lockup in there.
It looks like it's got some angle to it.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that first video, man, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is my first video on YouTube. I just opened this thing. I was excited for it. And then it did that. And I was like, I don't know what to say right now. Like,
yeah, for sure. It's like, okay, come on, man. It's my first one. And you're like, don't do this to me. Don't do this. Yeah, I hear you.
But now that it's broken in and it's functioning as it should, I'm looking forward to doing the review on it here in a week or so. So that'll be cool.
That's a full size, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and it's the natural micarta on it,
right?
Which is patinaing wonderfully already.
Nice.
So,
I ended up getting one of the mini big lighters that they had. I don't know if you're familiar with, but and I just found it by somebody told me about it. Somebody might have told me about it, or I found it by accident. But it was Kaiser's Friday Club. It's like it's on Facebook, and it's in the Kaiser group, but they call it.
I can't say that I've heard of that one.
And they release like special releases every once in a while.
Okay.
And it was a mini bag lighter. It was in red micarta.
Of course. Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And man, it was only like $50-$55. It was a decent price. And it was, let's see, it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be, and it's downstairs, so I can't, but it was I think it was supposed to be N690.
Ooh, okay.
But it was marked as 154 CM.
Oh, interesting.
So it was mismarked when they released them.
Huh.
So, and they didn't release, I think they only released a few hundred. I don't think they released 1,000. I think it was like 400 or 500 maybe. Right. So, they don't do large quantities of them. That, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to, it is N690. I don't know that either because I haven't taken it and haven't it tested. But it is N690, but it's marked as 154 CM. I believe that's I'd have to look to verify. But it was one or the other. And I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of like, is it N690? Is it 154 CM? What do I have? But I mean, the only way to find that out is just take it, to send it off and have it get tested. But
yeah, have it get right.
Honestly, am I too mad? I mean, yeah, obviously it should be marked the way it's supposed to be marked, but I like the knife. It's a fun little knife, and it does lock. I did not. I guess that's a long way to get to the story that I didn't have any issues with that one. It was in good shape. It's a fun little knife, and I'm digging it. So
there you go.
So, but yeah, it had a little bit of an oops with it apparently when they released it. So
right.
So do you have? Oh, go ahead.
I looking out of the corner of my eye here at my knife roll hanging on the wall. Okay. You like Dylan Mallory, if I'm not mistaken.
I do.
And
I do.
I believe you asked me at one point if I had any, and at the time I wasn't familiar with him or his maker's mark.
Okay.
But I do actually have one of his. It's my copper Archaeo from Artisan Cutlery.
Yes, indeed.
I ordered the new Hadros.
Did you order one? I haven't ordered one yet. I have not. I have not ordered one yet. Dylan, don't kill me. Don't kill me, Dylan. I haven't ordered one yet. I will definitely have one because I really like the look of that. And I do. I like his design aesthetic. Now, I did get on.
This thing is awesome.
Oh, yeah. And the Archaeo, the Mini, the Centros, excuse me. And the Hadros, I haven't ordered that one yet. But I did order the Forest.
Oh, the Forex or however it's called. Yeah.
I did
However
order
you say
that
that
one.
one.
I did order that one. So I think
That
those
was
are
that pre-order one, right?
yes, yeah, the
Yeah.
two. I think he's doing 200 of them. I believe it is, if I remember correctly. And yes, I did order one of those because I really, really like the way that looked. I mean, I like the way
Right.
I like his. He's definitely got a design DNA, which is I do like. I like that kind of Warncliffe sheep's foot aesthetic that he comes up with. And then his handles are usually pretty. There was, which one was it? It was, which one? It was the Archeo that kind of hit me wrong, but the mini Archeo was really nice. No. The Archeo hit me kind of wrong, but the Centros was perfect. I mean, they're similar knives. They're
See,
very.
I still haven't had a Centros yet.
I'm trying to think of where it is.
I've heard a lot of people talk about them, but I haven't handled one yet.
I do like the Centros, yes, and I like the Archeo too. And I ended up getting, somebody had one of the Blade Show, gosh, 2019 exclusives.
Okay.
They put it up for sale, and I ended up buying it just because I really wanted it, and it's a cool looking knife. But I do.
Now
What's that?
Oh, you got my mind on stage RV. Go ahead.
Oh no. I do. I really like Dylan's design aesthetic. And I mean, I've got one of the man, talk about CRS. Good Lord. This is terrible. Oh, one of his first knives. Doggone it. Yeah, okay. It's not going to come to me. I'm trying to think of it, so it's not going to come to me. It might here in a minute.
Oh,
go ahead.
My brain was going to CGRB.
Yeah.
And I got this guy, the Craig.
Yeah.
But this is the one with the recoil lock on it.
Uh-huh.
And it functions great. My only thing with it is if you grip this thing and you put your thumb right here and put any kind of pressure down on that recoil lock,
it could drop. It could drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my only kind of thing with it, that I was like, I don't know. I mean, but as a functioning lock, it works great, you know.
And I've heard, several people say that about it.
And it's a big knife, but
It is for sure.
But it was that was one of those ones for me. It was like, oh, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I just had to check it out, you know.
Oh, of course. So okay, we're kind of floating around this whole brand thing. We'll start with brands. Do you have a brand that you really kind of, like obviously we know Zach is a Benchmade guy,
Right.
like that. Do you have a brand that really stands? I mean, I know I talk about Finch knives all the time, and I do. I love them. But do you have, or are you just kind of, it's more of a design?
It's more of a design thing for me. I mean, 'cause
Okay.
I've got Concept, I've got CGRB, I've got Civivis, I've got Kershaw's, I've got, you know what I mean? I've got all kinds of stuff.
Of course.
I've got Spyderco's and Benchmades and
Sure.
I do like a lot of what Finch is doing. And then that's just design preference again. I don't care so much for the Runtley or the 1929.
Okay.
But I do love the Holiday and the Cimarron, and I'm looking forward to that Devil's Finger and the Drifter, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I do like a lot of what they're doing.
Sure.
And then the other one for me, everything he puts out on his damn Instagram from EMP EDC, he kills me. Like, dude, just take my money. Just take it all. Like,
well, that was gonna kind of be my next question. Is there a designer that you
Yeah, John at EMP EDC. He's everything that he's putting out, it's like he knows what I like, and he's just got it perfectly figured out. Like, you're killing me, dude.
Right. I'm that same way with Laconico. I really like his designs. But I tell you what, I'm really digging a lot more of like what Voxnez is doing and a lot of his designs, and Eric Oakes as well. I like a lot of Eric Oakes's designs. They've got more of that. Well, and it's just really the ones that I've really seen by him, but kind of more of that, like the Orca. I really enjoyed the Orca quite a bit. But his designs as a whole are still, and of course we've got Dylan. I love, I like Dylan's.
I do like a lot of the Vox designs.
Mhm.
I haven't, unfortunately, some of the more expensive ones I haven't gotten around to yet.
Sure.
But I do love the Pilar 3. That knife is fantastic.
Yes. I love that knife.
That one blew me out of the water too. I absolutely love that knife.
I do too.
I haven't had the opportunity to play with any Eric Oak, I don't think.
Okay.
But I'd be interested to check it out.
There again, the pass around group. I mean, that's how I see, that's how I get, a lot of us get to see these knives, Otherwise, I mean, you're just starting out. I mean, you can't go out and just buy knife after knife after knife after, well, you can, but you have to, a lot of them you're going to have to turn around and sell to buy the next knife. If you do, if you're doing it that way, which a lot of people do. A lot of people.
I haven't sold any. I've given some away.
Yeah.
But I haven't sold any. I don't know. I'm not in it to make money. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what
No. But I mean, not even to make money, but just to continue buying just to keep the cycle going, for sure. A lot of people, I mean, I know, somebody like Lefty, I know he does that quite a bit. That's just how he keeps knives rotating through. And it's a good way to do it, for sure. But my problem would be, I'd probably find too many that I wanted to keep.
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like the ones that I have given away are ones that I didn't spark that excitement or that happiness,
Right.
And most everything I have now, even though there's some that I don't care very much, they still excite me or make me happy when I pick them up. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I know all too well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess.
Like this one was actually probably the first one that this was the first one that I bought when I I found the rabbit hole thanks to Taylor Martin and Best Damn EDC.
Sure.
I was scrolling through YouTube one day, I came across his channel and his EDC Weekly, and on his EDC Weekly he shows people's pictures of their gear and stuff and talks about what they have in their gear, and that kind of sucked me in. And then I saw his video on like budget knives, $50 and under, and it was like the 10 best knives. And then from there I found Nick Shabazz and Slicey Dicey and
of course
Metal Complex, and kind of, you know what I mean. But
you start slipping, and that's where it goes.
But this was the first one I bought, and I believe it was like $55 or $60. And then after this one I bought the Tenacious, but I bought the Kershaw Natrix, and this is it's got the blue handle with kind of carbon fiber, which I don't think you can see very well there.
Sure.
And I mean, for what it is, I mean, the handle's kind of blocky, like kind of rough on the edges a little bit. It could have been chamfered more. But the action on this thing, it's ridiculous. Like I get past that detent there. There we go.
Right.
But yeah, it broke in so well, it's ridiculous. And I barely carry this anymore, but I still, for what it is, I still respect it and love it. I mean, it's 8CR, nothing fancy there, but it's just one of those knives that it's going to stay around,
Oh yeah, the two things I like most about the Natrix are the blade and the pocket clip.
Yeah. Oh, I love the pocket clip on that one. Absolutely love that pocket clip.
Yep.
It's so small and so what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't really draw your attention as much. If they just got rid of the Kershaw on there, it'd be really
Right. Well, I've been sitting here just kind of messing with this one. What
do you got there?
It's the Kershaw Method, and it,
okay.
You want to talk about nothing fancy. This is definitely This definitely qualifies as nothing fancy. There again, 8CR G10, you know, it's just a little flipper. It's not assisted. But this one, I mean, it does have, it's an ANSO design. It's kind of got a little bit of that Natrix-ish look to it in the blade shape and stuff. But this little guy has been, it's been in my wish list forever. And I was like,
I never heard of it until I seen you do your video on it, and I was like, oh.
And you know what? I mean, I haven't had it a long time, and I've carried it today, and I just kind of been playing with it. But I think I bought it on National Knife Day. That, and I bought that MKM Fara as well. That was my National Knife Day purchase. I didn't go too crazy. I kept myself in check, but I just been looking at this guy so many, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to look at it. And you know what? Again, nothing special, nothing fancy, but you know what? It's a pretty darn comfortable little knife. I think I paid like $27 for it. And it's on, I actually, when I did SKL last night, I was looking at it again real quick, and it was on sale for like 21.
Oh, wow.
So for $21, not a bad little knife.
Right, yeah.
I mean, even for 27, it's not a bad little knife. But I mean, the pocket clip, is not, it's definitely nothing to, you know, because it's that, you know, top to bottom screwed clip. So I mean, it's nothing, it's not deep carry or anything like that. But you know, for what it is, it's not.
I like the aesthetics of it, though. I do.
That's what kept bringing me back. It's just the way, just the overall profile of it. And, you know, it's not the rounded like I normally like, but there was just something about it that just kept saying, I need to check that little guy out.
Right.
And you know what? For what it is, it's not bad. I mean, no, it's not going to win any contests. It's not, you know, but it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I mean, in my opinion, for $21, nah, it doesn't need to win. It's like, it goes back to what you were saying, you know, in the beginning. You need something functional that'll do the job. Is it functional? Will it do the job and it won't break the bank? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's just it. Is I've got a number of knives that are over $100 and right around the $100 mark, and they're fantastic knives. Don't get me wrong, I love them all. But I'm just as quick to grab this guy that's $30 and take it with me to work as much as I would grab any one of those. And it's a fantastic little knife. You know what I mean? Like, and it does what I need it to do. So it's just, I mean, you get into the, you know, fancier blade steels and all that jazz. Yeah. But when you're just using it to work, I mean, as long as it gets the job done.
so back to the Penguin. What do you think makes it so popular?
I honestly,
in your opinion.
Well, I know one of the big selling points for me when I picked up my first one, which wasn't this one, it's actually a green micarta one that I don't know where it is because Mrs. Zman stole that one. That's why I bought this one, and then she wanted the copper one, which everybody saw, and then I got the titanium one. So we got 4 of them now.
Okay.
But what drew me to it originally was, one, the price point, because that's when I first kind of got into it, and it was in that budget realm, and I was like, cool, I can afford that one.
Yeah.
You know, but it was micarta and it was D2, and I was like, oh, cool, because I think this was actually my the Penguin was one of my first micarta knives, and I really wanted to try micarta because I was very intrigued by it, and that's what made me fall in love with it, was micarta on my first Penguin. And then I got it in hand and I flicked it open, and it snapped right open and it dropped shut, and I was just like, that's $30? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, why is that not more expensive? You know what I mean? It just kind of, and it's just kind of stuck with me, and I really appreciate it. Is what for the design. I mean, you got that, you know, that sheep's foot blade shape. That's just great utilitarian.
It's it's a great rope knife.
If you're
let
opening
me tell
and cutting boxes, it's fantastic. Like, you can't go wrong with it, you know?
That is a great blade shape for me at work. That is and you know, there again, I would have to agree with you. I mean, everybody was talking about them, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. and I got it, and it was like basically the same thing you said. Okay, it's micarta and D2, and I paid like $30 for this knife. Okay, I'm on the train.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on board. And some people don't like them, and that's fine. They're not just not. That's kind of the way I was with
Everybody's got different tastes.
exactly. And the knife I love, other people might be like, no. And I don't know what it is, but people were always giving me crap because I would always say, man, this knife fits my hand perfectly. I would always, and it seemed like it was pretty much every single knife I picked up there for quite some time. But it was true. They just fit my hand really well. So I don't know if I just have that magic size hand that, like most knives are right-handed. Right. Well, I just must have that size hand that just fits most knives that are made. I don't know.
I wear medium to large size gloves. You know what I mean?
Me too.
My hands aren't huge, but they're not tiny.
Right.
And like the Penguin, I mean, I get pretty much a perfect 4-finger grip on there.
Yep.
Not much space to spare, but it fits my hand good. Like, and then I mean the Nimble, that one. I mean, I barely get 4 fingers on it, but then you go up into that choil where it's meant to be used, and it's just ungodly fantastic.
Right.
But I mean, so I got pretty average size hands, and a lot of them, like you said, I pick them up and I'm like, oh, that fits my hand great. Just instantly like, yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody has average size hands, I guess. So.
No. I guess not. But, and I mean, it's not just that. I mean, it's just, and obviously designers and companies make knives that generally are ergonomically comfortable for a variety size of hands, of course. I mean, because if they didn't, that would just be dumb. I mean, let's face it, it would be.
Yeah.
But, and even now I just kind of got one of these petrified fish here that I'm looking at. And again, it's pretty much, it just is exactly right. Like you said, I don't have a lot left over, but I get a very comfortable 4-finger grip on it and don't have to. So I don't know. I guess I consider myself lucky. I don't know.
As far as, so for me, to kind of switching gears a little bit, as far as like what I look for in designs that I really kind of go towards, I'm a sucker for a good finger choil.
Okay.
I absolutely love being able to choke up and get that extra control behind the blade.
Sure.
I love an opening hole, like on the Nimble or the Spyderco's.
Okay.
I like that middle finger flick.
Sure. I would like it more if I could do it better. No.
Dude, when I got that Tenacious, it took me some practice to
Dude, a Tenacious is not the easiest to do. So I mean, from my aspect, bravo if you can.
Well, and the detent on it is pretty stiff on the one I got too. So it takes a little but once I figured it out, I was like, oh, I got it. And then it was just, and then I couldn't stop. But and then I learned after the other one that took me some practice, and my first one was actually the Concept Prickle is front flippers. And now that I figured that out, I love those. They're fantastic. I love front flipping. It's a fun way to fidget too.
The thing with front flippers is you got to be quick.
Yeah.
You just got to flip it. If you just try to like half-heartedly flip and roll again, I'll say for me, my other fingers start getting in the way. You just got to go. And I've been trying to teach a guy at work, because they like to see the knives that I check out and stuff. And they're and you know what? It's really fun to take them knives. And I do this quite frequently. Is I'll take knives and I'll say, here, and I'll just give them the knife and I'll walk away. And I'll be like, well, they're like, what do you want? And I was like, just look at it. Just look at it. and I'm going to come back in a little bit and I want to know what you think of it, you know. And sometimes
did it.
It was so funny. What did I have? I think it was the F5.5.
I want to check one of those out so bad.
I took it and handed it to one of the guys at work, and I was like, just, you know, do your thing. I went off and did some stuff, and I came back. I was like, so what do you think? You know what he told me? The first thing I would do is take that pocket clip off and throw it away. I was like, oh, okay. Well, kids say the darndest things, don't they? I was like, wow, okay. I was like, you really don't like the pocket clip? And he's like, no. He's like, I tell you, I love the look of the knife. And he was like, when I first looked at it, I was like, he was like, wow, you know. And once he got it open and was looking at it, he liked the knife overall. He hated that pocket clip. He really hated that. Yeah.
See, I haven't heard anybody rag on the pocket clip for that yet. That's the first.
I really didn't have too big of an issue with it. I was, you know, I could feel it a little bit. You know, I didn't have a really big, I just thought that was hilarious when he said that, you know. He's like, I was like, oh, okay.
That was like when you passed that sumo around when we were down in Portland and around the SKL, and every one of us was like, no, on the pocket clip, just no.
Yeah. It was in a really odd place, and
it really was.
And I was like, okay. And I've been hearing, you know, a lot of good things about it, and I hadn't heard really anybody say anything about the pocket clip. And you know, somebody had loaned that to me, and I'm like, I don't want to talk bad about people's knives, you know, but you know, but I had this, I was like, man, I am not jiving with that pocket clip. And he's like, oh, me either, dude. Me either. I was like, oh, okay, good. Woo, okay, good. And then I passed it around down there, and everybody's like,
Yeah, no,
I was like, really? Wow, okay. You know, but then I've heard other people say, no, it doesn't bother me a bit. Okay, cool. Excellent. Good deal.
Yeah, where that thing dug in on the hand, I was like,
yeah,
nope.
It felt, if the best way I can put it is, it just felt weird to me. I mean, there was a spot where it was kind of what I would call a hot spot, but it just felt odd.
Right.
That's the best way I can put it. Is it just didn't feel right, you know, and right for me. There we go. I'll put it that way. It just didn't feel right for me, you know, and apparently you are kind of in agreement with that. But no, so let's get back to your channel a little bit. How long has it been up at this point? At the time, what's it been, about 2 or 3 weeks?
Well, I put up my first video, what, a week and a half ago?
Week and a half. Okay. So, and you're almost at 100 subscribers. That's pretty good.
Well, I definitely had some help from yourself, and I think Lefty helped me out the one night on his live.
Yeah.
So I've had some assistance, and I much appreciate it.
Sure. Well, I mean, and that's kind of, you know, we always talk about that. I mean, you were on Zach's live today.
Yeah.
You know, with bees and stuff, and
yes.
Bees. Well, you were there when I hit my 5,000, weren't you?
Yep.
And that I mean, that was Zach. That's what it was, and it's just, you know, and we're here to help one another out. And, you know, it's sometimes, and unfortunately, I've seen it a couple times recently or experienced it a couple of times where that might get lost. And that's unfortunate.
Right.
And I'll speak for myself, because we're here to help one another out and to expand the community. And that's what should be, you know, and friendships and relationships, that's what's most important over everything else.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That is by far the most important thing. And as long as we don't lose sight of that, the community is going to grow and flourish, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and I have no delusions of like becoming famous or having 1 million subscribers or
Right.
anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
I
never
just
know,
want to hang
man.
out. I just want to hang out with other knife people and
Yeah.
have fun and talk about knives and
Yeah.
like you said on your one, just feel like we're hanging out at the bar talking about knives. Like
And
that's
it's
all I'm looking for. So
exactly. And we've actually done that before in real life.
mhm,
So, I mean, yeah, that's exactly the vibe that that I'll say that's the vibe that I want to provide is
right.
just to, and that's why it's so much fun to do the live streams without a doubt. Those are always fun.
Oh yeah.
And, sometimes some stuff pops up and I'm just kind of like, okay, that happened recently. And sometimes it just, I don't know, it kind of throws you off.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to react. And I'm just like, I've kind of got the whole deer in the headlights thing. Is like,
Right.
all right, where do I go with this? And but it's fun because, and like I said, I'm sitting here doing the live stream, and y'all, I think half the time y'all ain't even paying attention to what I'm saying because you're talking, and that's great. That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for.
We're always listening too. Like don't
Oh, I know.
think we're not.
No, I don't. But that's what it's there for. That's what it's there for as well, is to get everybody together because, not everybody, I chat with you or I chat with Zach or I chat with Casey, but
Right.
you might not chat with Casey on a regular basis, but that
Right.
the live stream gives you that opportunity to do that. And that's exactly what I love.
Well,
And
that's like up until I don't know a couple weeks ago, I didn't really watch DTOM or Lefty or NAF Sergeant that much.
mhm.
And then I got on one of Lefty's lives one night, and I had a blast just hanging out in their live and talking to these guys. Some of the other guys that hang out around them.
Right.
So I ended up, and then now I've been going to their lives more often too, and hanging out,
Sure.
and it's been so much fun. And then Grateful Panic, John.
Mhm.
I love his spontaneous shenanigans. They're so much fun. Oh man, they're so much fun.
I don't know how those guys go for so long. I don't know
Well,
how they do it.
Bees has got the record now, so
Yeah, that was what it was, like 6.5 hours or something like
yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
I will sadly say that I was there for pretty much the whole thing. But
Yeah.
it was a blast. So
I mean, I've been on with John for a while.
well, it
But
was one of those that I really just spend 6 hours of my life
right.
in a yeah, I did. But you know what? It
Yeah.
was fun. I had a great time, and I was hanging out with
Well,
people I
that's the
wanted to
most
hang out with.
important thing. Exactly. That's
Like,
the most important thing. If you're hanging
so
out and having fun and, then you're not hurting anybody and you're just having a good time, then then there again, that's what it's there for.
although I inadvertently started some shenanigans in that one, but I won't get into that.
Well, that's okay. It's all right. It happens. That happens.
Oh man.
So very cool, man. I really appreciate you doing this, man, and saying you joined me and come on and
Yeah.
just basically talk about, and like like we were talking, once you get, I have a couple of questions, but then it's a free for all. You just start talking,
Right.
and we could go through this whole thing and never talk about knives.
Oh yeah.
It's that easie. It's that
Well,
easy, and the time there again. Talk about time melting away. Because we've been going for probably at least an hour, maybe a little over, and it just doesn't feel like it's been that long.
right.
So,
Well, I definitely appreciate you having me on, man. It's been
of course,
totally honored
man,
to be on one of your channel chats because I watch them every week when you put one out. So
I
it's something
appreciate that. I appreciate that
I
very much.
had definitely hoped to be on one eventually. I didn't think it would be this soon.
Well, and
But
I tell you what, the whole reason why I wanted to have you on, but
mhm,
this was the original intent of the channel chat,
right.
to talk with small, just starting out channels and hopefully, help you grow in some way. That might be,
Right.
hey, if a couple of people that have maybe never been in one of the live streams, sees this and says, hey, I need to check out his channel, and ends up subscribing, great. Then it's been it's a success. But I mean, we've talked quite a bit. Like I said, we've met up. I mean, gosh, I don't think we probably live more than 10, 12, if that.
Yeah, not 15
even
minutes tops from each other.
Exactly. And we've met up at a local watering hole a couple of times and shot the breeze about knives and stuff like that. And definitely need to do it again, because it's always a good time. And I want to see that nimble again, because that's a pretty cool knife. But no, I am. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. I wish you all the best with the channel, man. And like I said, don't fuss about the small stuff, because you'll get your flow, and you'll get your timing down, and you'll figure out what works for you. In the meantime, just have fun. That's the big thing. Just have fun.
And I it's one of my flaws. I do it in everything I do. I tend to overthink things a lot. So I always just got to remind myself to slow down and just go with the flow,
Yeah.
And it'll be fine. So
it will be. You'll be fine, and you'll have fun doing it. And like you said, you'll reach that goal of just talking to people about, a passion that you have.
Right.
And that's the best thing about it. And it was kind of funny in Nellie's channel chat, in her takeover. When she started talking about that, I was like, oh yeah, there's somebody out there that we definitely need to.
Mel watched the channel chat with me when she did that one. So she was sitting on the couch next to me, and I think Nellie said the Zacks, and she Mel got excited, and she's like, honey, that's you. And I was like, yes, I know. And then you guys kind of called me out, and she's like, they're talking to you, and I was like, I know, honey.
Well, we didn't want to call you out. That wasn't, but we had talked. We had talked about it, and that was the one thing. And I guess, she had talked to you about it,
yes,
down there when we were down in Portland, in Oregon City. She had talked to you about it, and you would discuss the desire to start a channel and stuff like that, and basically do like you said, just talk to people about knives. And that was the biggest thing, is just have fun and be yourself, and don't let all of this, because unfortunately after a while you're going to get this. There's going to be those people back there that just, it happens, man. It happens. Well, and so sometimes it just like, why? And it starts to creep in there, but you just got to be like, no, get out of here.
Right. Well, and it was funny. I don't remember which video, because I think I have like 5 or 6 up now. But one of my videos, I got my first thumbs down, and Melanie, she was like, honey, you got a thumbs down, aren't you upset? And I was like, no. She's like, you're not? And I was like, no, it's gonna happen. It's a part of the. And I was like, if anything, it still gives my channel attention. So whatever.
It does.
Like,
it does. Like, Absolutely.
There's gonna be the haters, and I'm not gonna. They're not gonna stop me. So
no, don't let that bug you at all. It's because what was it? Oh, well, I did that little tribute video here a while back with the fire.
Thank you
right?
For that. That was fantastic.
Oh, well, I mean, that was
fantastic.
I don't know. I just wanted to do something. It might be little, it might be, but I wanted to do something. So that was my something. Okay.
Right.
And I know somebody commented, because of course it got its thumbs down. It's gonna happen. There's people out there that, whatever. And, somebody was like, I can't believe somebody would do that, just because of what the video was about and what it was for. Right. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Somebody's got a hard spot for me, or it's just, that's what they do. You know, because unfortunately there are those people out there that that's just what they do.
I almost swear that there's somebody that lurks around and waits for all these knife channel lives to happen, and then hops in and hits the thumbs down, because within the first couple minutes of every live, there's at least one thumbs down.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, who is doing that? Because 90%, 90% of us in the chat all love it. So why, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand.
It happens, man. It just happens. It like you said, it's part of putting yourself out there. It just is. It's just part of putting yourself out there, and and I get what he was saying, because yeah, I'm like, I understand, why would somebody do that? I was trying to show respect to, the people and the families, and that was just my thing. That's what
absolutely, yeah.
I felt that it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Agree, disagree, whatever. That was my thing. And there's some people that obviously didn't agree with it on some level, whether it was me, whatever, but
right.
That's like I can't remember who it was that made that comment, but I was like, don't pay it any attention. Like you said, if anything, it still helps the channel. That's what they don't understand, is it still shows activity for the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. That's kind of how I just, thanks. It's like,
right.
Thank you.
Right.
I mean, you really can't do anything else. It's not like you're going to go, why did you do that?
Can I go and start an argument with them? Yeah. No. Is it going to get me anywhere?
No.
Is it a waste of my time and effort? Yeah.
It is. It is. And I just got a weird comment the other day. And I was like, I didn't really understand the comment. So I was like, I just said, I'm not really understanding what you're saying.
Right.
And it came back again, and it's hard to see emotion or positive or negative in just a comment. But I mean, trust me, there's times where you can get a pretty good idea of what the person, just by the words that are used. But I was like, okay. And they did it again, and they did that. And I was like, I was just like, hey, thanks for watching, man. Because, like you said, why go down that? And trust me, I have a couple of times. Does it get anybody anywhere? No.
Yeah.
So what's the use? I mean, if it's something, and most of the time I'm just trying to figure out, so what is it? Is it my opinion, or is it because I'm trying to understand, so maybe I can better understand where they're coming from,
right? So
I can because I try to come to common ground. I really do.
Yeah.
I just, and if the common ground is I like it and you don't, or you like it and I don't, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
At all. We're not
we can agree to disagree.
Exactly. And that's, but there's been a couple of times where it's just, you can't get there, because it's just, they continue to, I call it spit venom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get to a common ground. It's just,
and some of them don't want to compromise.
And that's just it. They don't want to. So I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. All right.
They just want to feel that fire. And if you keep giving into them, it just,
it just, they get what they want. Exactly. So yeah, and I mean, I try to be very respectful, and I'm still at the point where I've got to the point where I try to respond to every single comment. And that can take some time.
Yeah. And I've noticed it, man. You definitely definitely comment on.
But I've gotten to the point to where, I mean, like, people, you'll get 3 or 4, the person will comment 3 or 4 times on the same video. They comment as they watch. right? I've learned that not every single one of those comments necessarily needs to be responded to. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? For a long time, I would, but if you read it, okay, there's really no response required for this.
Yeah, right.
Because they're not seeking a response. They're just making a comment.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so
Well, see, and I've been making an effort to answer or respond to all my comments so far. There might have been a couple I may have missed, but I think I've got all of them. I haven't had any crazy comments yet, other than the thumbs down popping up. But
well, and all I can say is I hope you don't. That's about as far as I mean, unfortunately, if you do it long enough, it's probably gonna happen.
Right.
It just is.
When it comes to me watching other people's videos, I actually have a habit of not commenting. I'll watch and I'll like, and then I'll just and I've realized that I do that, and I'm like, well, maybe I should leave a comment. So I've been trying to leave comments more often because I feel like I am letting you down if I don't. I guess I don't know.
Not at all. Not at all. I always say at the end of the video, leave me a comment. I love talking to you. If you do, great. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's fine. But I do. I like, tell me what you think. Tell me what if you see something that you think I might not have paid, enough attention to, or, and especially if you have a question, please, ask. The unfortunate part about that is I'll get questions about like maybe pass around knives that I saw a year ago.
Right.
And then I have to sit there like, okay.
People asking the questions you weren't planning on.
Well, but I've seen so many knives between then and now.
Right.
That I'm just like, okay. And with a pass around knife, we're obviously only allowed a limited amount of time with them so that they can continue to make, because when manufacturers and companies loan those knives out, they, that's the expectation, is they're looking for publicity and to reach the most people. So they want to keep them moving. So it's not like we get a month or two with these knives. So I'm when that happens, I'm like, okay, let's see. I really got to try to think. And I've already proven talking to you that CRS strikes really hard sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I really need to think about this. And, there's been a couple of times that I've had to say, you know what? I'm sorry, but I just can't remember that aspect of that knife.
Right.
And God love you people if you can do it. I wished I was that. I had that mental capacity, but
I was in one of the lives the other night, and somebody asked me a specific question about the titanium penguin, and I'd been carrying it for a few days, and I hadn't carried it that day. I was sitting on the couch, and all my knives are in the bedroom, and I was like, hold on, let me go grab it, because with the specific question they asked, I was like, I hadn't really paid attention to that part of it yet. Like, so I came in here and grabbed it and took it out and looked at it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And went back and answered their question, but I was like, wow, they asked something that I hadn't really paid attention to yet,
Yeah.
So it kind of caught me off guard, but yeah, I had to get up and go get it because I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not, nope. But
that'll happen. But as long as you just have fun with it, that's the main thing.
Oh yeah.
Have fun. My thing is have fun and spread the positivity and do what I can to help the community grow and put as much positivity back into the community as possible. And I hope that works. I hope
right.
It's all you can do. It's all you can do.
Well, I absolutely adore the community that you've gotten built around you, and I love being a part of it. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing something right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And like I said, you'll get those, and every once in a while you'll get that comment that you'll just be like, that's why I'm doing this.
Yep.
Exactly. you know, and that one for me, I mean, there's been more than one, but the most recent one was, he's like, man, I love your channel. It's like sitting there talking knives with my buddy.
Yep.
Perfect. Success. Nothing else matters. You know what I mean? You know, and that wipes out any of this stuff and all that stuff.
Overshadows all the bad stuff.
Exactly. And not that there's much of that, because there's really not. There's really not. I mean, obviously the community's been through a little bit of stuff recently,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and, you know, and unfortunately some very good friends have suffered needlessly through it. And that's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that story hurt my heart, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm right there with you. But in the big scheme of things, I think the community's got a pretty good thing going. And
yeah,
I just want to have fun with that and enjoy that.
Well, it's so amazing to see how many channels and how many different people it spreads through, and just that camaraderie.
Yeah.
And I've hopped into lives with people that I haven't watched until recently, and there's whole new people in there I've met, but there's that same camaraderie is still there.
Oh, sure.
And they're still just as welcoming, and it's still just as cool. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's like, man, this is awesome.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool to see it, you know?
It
like
absolutely
who I'm trying to think who that was that I hopped in their live. It wasn't Dirk, it was Mike something.
Mike Emler?
Yes, that guy. I hopped in one of his lives the other day, and I'd never been on any of his stuff before, and it was cool, man. I was like, oh, right, cool. I felt like I fit right in, you know? And they were welcoming, and it was cool. And there were some people I recognized, but there were some I didn't, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And funny little thing about Mike, that was the first knife I ever, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that was the first knife I ever won coming into the community. And it was my first custom knife. Was those little, was from Mike. Yeah. Yeah. And it was actually on Birdshot's channel.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Birdshot, for some reason, was hosting the giveaway. Man, there we go with that CRS. I'm pretty sure it was, though, because they had been talking about his stuff. And I won a little custom that he built, and I got to pick the colors and all that good stuff. So that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And now he's got, you know, I mean, he's got his sharpening service, and he's got a bunch of designs that have been produced now. So that's pretty cool.
He's the one that did the sea snake, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I want to get one of those. Those are cool.
Yes. Yeah, it's a nice little knife. It's nice and slim and very, for me, very ergonomically comfortable. And it was a nice little knife. Right. Absolutely. And fairly affordable.
Yeah. The price on it is not,
so
not bad at all.
No, not at all. So, but all right, brother. Whoa, I lost you there for a minute.
Oh, no, I'm here.
No, I know you are, but my darn computer. There we are. I lost my window for a minute. It minimized on me. I'm like, no, where'd you go? But
whoops, there you go, shaking everything. Whoops.
I do, man. I really appreciate you coming on tonight, and I will get this all done up, and I'll try to get it out. I try to get it out early to my channel members.
Right.
But I'm having issues. I don't know. I thought YouTube used to send out notifications for members only posts on the community. I swear they did. But
it's like a toss-up when I get them from you. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it seems like that. It's not just with you though. It's with all the channels lately.
Or I'll put it up on like a Wednesday, and somebody will say, "Hey, I got the channel. You know, I got the notification like on Friday."
Right.
It's like it's delayed or something. So I try to make sure that people know that. I guess I'll just have to make a public post and say, "Hey, channel members, your post is going up today. make sure you check out the
Yeah.
community page. I'll have to do something like that. And so
well, see, ever since you brought it up that last time that you were having problems with it, I've been paying attention to the public posts more often because I know you've been doing stuff there. So I've been watching that closer. Like, oh, okay.
Well, that's what I do. I use that community page quite a bit. I mean, I use Instagram too, which I reach a lot of people, but I really do use that. It's because it's a great tool. And I just wished it was a little bit better tool when it comes to channel members. You know what I mean? But I'll get it done up and I'll give you the link so you can see it as well. And, and when I get it done up, but man, I really appreciate you doing this tonight. And
absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
Absolutely
honored to be on here. So
very cool. So guys, there'll be links down in the description for sure. But check out Zman's EDC new channel. He's almost at 100. I would love nothing more than for you to watch this and let's get him over 100 subscribers and hit that first milestone. And once you do that,
I gotta do a giveaway. I don't have all the swag some guys do, but I got a couple things planned. So
okay, good. But yeah, let's do it. Let's get him over 100 subscribers and we'll have fun. And you just might find a new channel that you really enjoy watching.
I hope so.
So thanks a lot, brother. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll definitely be talking here.
Absolutely.
All right, man. You have a good night.
You too.